Okay, so now we're going to catch up at a personal level. How's Adam? Where's Adam? How come he didn't come here?
Adam Plex, he's doing great. I literally see him every week, and he and I are still running BMC strong. You know, he and I have it's an obvious perfect harmony, our personalities to run BMC. Adam's like, he can be goofy, and he's got a very good eye for marketing, right? Which is really important when you're trying to put flyers up or brand an event. And I'm really good with organization and keeping people accountable. Usually the one that kind of says, hey, what's the status on this or whatever, you know? So I've got good organization skills. So we balance each other really well.
We were talking about this before we even started the podcast earlier. How much goes into these events and how much energy and planning? And one of the fun facts that you mentioned was it becomes so difficult because you guys rely on volunteers. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody sees a BMC ride. They see 100 people at a meetup. They see the energy within the crew, and they're like, "Wow, I want to replicate this. I want to do this. I can do this." But the work behind the scenes is it can be a lot. So what it takes to do monthly group rides, you have to coordinate start point, end points with venues. You have to create a route, and then you have to, if you're going to run a 100 people group ride safely, where you take care of your people, right? Because a lot of your group riders, a lot of the people that come to their rides are new. They don't know what a group ride is. They've never done a group ride. They're maybe been riding for a few months. You need a crew to take care of the parade, right? Because you have the group being separated by lights, stop signs. You have all these obstacles working against you. So you need to train your crew to know how to manage a ride. You need to make sure they know the route so they can lead separated groups. And you need to have people at the end to make sure the newbies are taken care of. The thing that I hate to hear the most is when people that are new go on a group ride, the leads take off and don't take care of them. They get left behind and lost. And now they turn people off from group rides because of a bad experience.
Right.
Every time you go to a BMC ride, no one gets left behind. Everybody feels safe and welcomed, and they keep coming back. So that takes energy. It takes bandwidth. It takes time, and it takes certain type of leadership to execute. And to do it for years, you know, it's hard.
I'm laughing because you're so modest, you know. And the reason I say this is because I've had you on the pod. This is the third time I've had you in like 2-3 years, and I'm. It's hard for me to remember all my conversations, obviously, but I'm remembering our first conversation, and it was the organization is intense because 2-3 days before the ride, we're doing the ride and we're going back and forth, checking out the route, making sure there's no constructions or anything's happening, because later on you plan it out. But then once you have it all planned out, all of a sudden there's a construction or a buildup, and it's very, very intricate. And now you're just like, we had like,
so
because you're used to it. You're used to it, and you're saying how it is.
Yeah.
But it's back to your statement that people see it and they're like, I could do that, and it's like, you probably can, but it's going to be a disaster. And the only way of doing that is from doing it multiple times, like anything else, and having mistakes and inconveniences and stuff like that.
Right. And like you're saying, it's the repetition and then seeing different scenarios play out multiple times. So when it comes up, you're comfortable and you don't panic. When you have someone leading a parade route that doesn't have the experience, there are situations at lights or at stop signs where you have to make a decision because there's a train behind you, whether you hold up, stop, slow down, wait for the next light cycle. Because if you, for example, do a sudden stop because the light turns yellow, you're going to cause an accident because the train's not going to be able to slow down in time. And, we've had those situations at BMC, but we've seen it enough. We know how to react. So every time we do a group ride, I'm I'm usually the one that's leading, and I have one of my crew members shadow me throughout the ride, and I talk them through everything that I'm thinking about, so that way they can watch and learn. And we have our comm systems in our helmets. So that's what we did with the ladies ride. So the 2 months before the ladies ride, I groomed Shannon to practice being at the front, and I walked through all of the decisions that we're making.
Beverly Hills Motorcycle, Shannon?
No, this is Shannon Bacchus.
Shannon Bacchus.
She's a comedian.
Okay.
She got patched in this December, so she's a relatively new person.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I just every time, okay.
Yeah, I know. Again, tall blonde on a Bonneville.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I groomed her so that she can lead the ladies ride by herself, and she did fantastic. So it takes a lot of work, like you're saying, to put on a social club like Beachside Moto Club, but man, is it rewarding.
Yeah. Did you ever think you would be here 5 years ago?
I thought about like where would BMC be when we first started, and I'm thinking like my perception is pretty accurate. Like it's just good collaborations with good people, good groups, and just having a crew that is really, really great with each other, right? Our crew right now is solid. We all support each other. We love each other. We get along really well. The energy is high in the group chats. Like everything is fantastic. So it's not something that just falls out of the sky.
Yeah.
Not at all. Adam and I have worked really hard to build what we have now.
Oh, it's beautiful, man.
Yeah, and we're babies. I mean, if you look at other moto clubs that have been around forever, there are official moto clubs, MCs, there's other social groups, there's nonprofits. We're still babies, but man, we put a lot of energy into it, and the community, they see it and they respect it.
Yeah, the good thing also is you guys have, it's not a group with egos. Everybody's just there to enjoy the ride. Like you said, when you have 100+ bikes and it's like, this group made it past the red light. There's not like people behind there saying, we got to make the red light too.
Oh, no.
Like all that's like, okay, we'll stay here. There's another group leader. It's like,
exactly. Right. We at the safety announcements, we say, look out for people with patches. If you get separated by a light, just chill. Someone on the crew will take the lead of your group and bring you back to the rest. It's kind of like that slinky effect. It takes time to bring everybody back. Yeah. But that's what I mean. Train your crew to take care of the parade route, the giant parade ride.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've made it an effort to, when I see a motorcyclist, I talk to them, I invite them to a BMC ride, and I keep seeing them month to month, and it's great. Yeah.
Are you guys doing other stuff outside of the ride? Like, do you guys have like a dinner, or do you guys have something separate, or like an annual thing, or the Beachside Moto ball?
I know, right? We do these hangouts called Bikes, Brews, and Banter, Triple B. Triple B.
Fourth B. I'm kidding.
We host these like community hangouts at venues that are willing to support us. Yeah. The last one was at the garage on Motor Avenue, right next to Sony Studios, and they let us use their whole event space. We just
when was the last time you did that?
That was a
couple years ago, right?
No. That was like a few months ago. Yeah.
Because you guys had the Sony thing in Culver City.
We had a Sony hangout with about like 15 people not too long ago, but that wasn't open to the community. It was just kind of like the crew. Yeah. But in terms of other events we put on, we have our Bikes, Brews, and Banter, Triple B hangouts, but we also have crew only events, which goes back to grooming your crew to work well together.
Nice.
So we have a team retreat where we go up to Big Sur for the weekend, and we go and just explore. We go to cool routes, pull over by the ocean and just hang out. And all of that just adds to the team building so that we work well together. Besides that, we do end of the year hangouts like Friendsgiving and a White Elephant gift exchange. All again, just to kind of bring the crew together. We host Moto Mondays, where the crew comes together at a bar and hangs out, talks, catches up, and then rides to another spot. So a lot of things for the crew only. That way we keep the team super strong.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I try to go to more of these events. I've just concluded that when it comes to riding, I feel like, I don't know, I'm kind of like a lone wolf. And now there's a few other lone wolves that I met that just, that keep up, and we're good, and it's just fine. It's hard for me to do a bunch of events.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why I like podcasting. This is why I have the Ride Boundless. I like this one-on-one interaction. I get too distracted when there's just too much going on, and then I'm looking at way too much. I'm too hyper focused on riding, and I'm just like, what shoes is he wearing, and why that helmet? That doesn't have a DOT. Like there's.
I hear you. No, look, don't get me wrong. Like, group rides are great. It's a great place to make friends. A lot of those friends meet up on their own time.
Of course.
And make smaller groups.
Of course.
So you could have a group of like 2 or 3.
Right. No, and I wasn't even talking about, like Beachside Motors or their events. As you're talking about this, I'm realizing how many events there are weekly in LA. Like, there's just, and forget LA. In Southern California, there's unlimited amounts. I'm going to an event tomorrow. I'm going to be Willow Springs. They're doing a thing this weekend. I got invited out. Trinidad, big shout out to Trinidad.
Nice.
He was with Frankie Loya. He had the Airstream. We're going to take the Airstream out to Willow Springs, and we're going to move some Ride Clean product. I'll probably do some interviews.
Cool.
They're having some races. I guess there's a new owner. But there's just so many events, and then I'm like, I gotta go to them, and then I'm like, well, wait a minute, I just like riding. Like, I ride almost every day, everywhere I can. Yeah. And I want to go to the events, but then I go there and I'm just there for like 30 minutes, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna go ride more.
Right.
Like, that's truly what it really concludes to. I'm like, I would just rather be riding more.
You got to balance it out.
Yeah.
What you're gonna get out of the events. But you're right. Everything from track days, like you mentioned at Willow Springs, to off-road days, because we have a lot of good off-roading within an hour from LA also.
Yeah.
There's just so much of everything. And it keeps the moto community super healthy.
Of course.
Like, obviously you don't want to hit every event, but if you're looking to make friends, get a motorcycle. Like, that's number one. But yeah, just don't spread yourself too thin.
Yeah.
But
I think that's the other thing. It's just, the whole family thing, It's like family, work, and then motorcycle, and it's like that's
right.
That's it.
And
which, by the way, I want to say congratulations to Adam.
Yeah, Adam.
Adam, man,
he's a married man now.
He's a married man. We all have thousands of friends and feeds and posts, and it's funny because I talk to you guys when you guys are on the podcast or when I run into you, but like, little things stick out. So congratulations, Adam. Yeah,
Adam married a really encouraging woman, Katie, and Katie is a real MVP. We love Katie. She has been supporting Adam through all of BMC's growth, and it hasn't been easy at all. Yeah. But I'm very grateful for Katie supporting Adam and making sure that he's able to put in time to make it happen. So thank you so much, Katie. Keep doing the good work.
Congrats, Adam.
Yeah, congrats, Adam. You got a winner.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's healthy. But yeah, we got to balance our life with work, with family, and our passions. And it's not going anywhere. If you need to take a break from motorcycling for a bit to catch up on life, come back right into it. Very welcoming community.
Talking about rockets.
You mean the Triumph rocket?
Yeah, I'm talking about rocket.
The Elvis Triumph rocket, or the Evel Knievel.
The Evel Knievel?
The one that just came out. Aerospace.
Let's have a quick check-in with aerospace. How's that? What's happening with the community? What's happening with the, You're
going to get me in trouble.
What? I'll tell you, you're a smart man.
Oh, man.
Tell me the dirtiest secret of rockets. Is the Earth flat?
Earth is not flat.
Oh man. You know what's my funniest argument to that? Look at an eclipse.
Yeah.
You see like a flat line on an eclipse, like
Yeah, exactly.
no, it's a sphere.
Right.
Which, look,
Yeah.
like I know some things of space because my mom loves UFOs. She's fucking so into UFOs.
Okay.
It's her thing, and she's a crazy smart woman.
Okay.
So you know, I like little things like that. But now my son's into like planets and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And there's certain things that but then when you hear it from like a 6-year-old, you're like, I knew that, but the way you're wording it, it's very interesting. And he's like, Papa, the sun's a star, right? And I go, yeah. And he goes, so the sun's the name of the star, right? And I go, yeah. And he goes, and all the stars that we see out there are like suns, but stars. And I go, yeah, all the stars are stars, So do all the stars have planets? And I'm like, I believe so. And I'm like, those are the exoplanets. And he goes, I think they're called exoplanets. And I'm like, those are the exoplanets. It's fucking wild.
Yeah.
And then I was looking at the lunar eclipse that we had like about a month ago or 2 months ago. And again, it's just so fucking wild that the moon is the right distance from the sun, and it's the right size and right distance, that the sun is also at the right.
Right. They're all in line. They create a line.
But like
how do you, if you ever need proof that we are revolving
this shit blows my mind away.
We're rocks revolving around a star, look at an eclipse. That's proof right there.
That's just proof. And then you get into it's not only like this, but it's like this.
Yeah, it's ellipses, different shape of orbits. But the nearest star to us is way too far away. So like we're never going to be in touch with another being. It's just too far. I've done research in this, like cosmology, and the distance is the biggest factor. I wish we had a star a little closer to us, but it's going to be hard to find another Earth-like planet, let alone another species interacting with us. Just too far away.
What are your thoughts on UFOs?
It's just too. I don't think it's possible, man. I think for another species to reach Earth, I mean, you can think of like stars like a grain of sand at the beach. There's infinite number of them, and they're just so far. I don't think it's possible for like extraterrestrial to reach Earth. And I think they're not real.
What's the? I'm going to add to that, but what's the? There are more stars than grains of sand, and there are more atoms in a grain of sand than there are stars. What the fuck?
Yeah, dude. X-Files. When you think of the magnitude of space, it blows your mind. We're so small considering the universe,
and it's expanding.
Yeah, and it's growing.
It's continuous expanding.
Yeah.
And then Neil deGrasse Tyson said, he said this in an interview, I believe, with Joe Rogan, that there's different sizes of infinities.
Yeah. What? That's the calculus. That's the math.
What? And basically the explanation from that is that some infinites start before others, therefore being bigger.
So they've existed different time zones, different times. Yeah, I know. Look, it blows your mind the deeper you get into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson's the man.
Oh, he's the man, dude.
I wish I could talk to that guy.
Oh yeah. Hopefully I'll get him on the podcast. Why not? Why not? Let's go.
He could probably do it.
You know, I was supposed to get Jay Leno.
Really?
Supposed to get Jay Leno. Yeah, I ran into him at Burbank. I was on the R9T, and I was like, Jay. And he's like, what's up? Nice bike. I was like, nice car, bro. He's like, yeah, thanks, man. You got to do my podcast. He's like, what's it called? Ride Boundless. He's like, Ride what? And I go, Ride Boundless. He goes, I like the name. And then he's like, oh, okay, what's your name? And I go, Robert. You know, Roberto. My name's He's like, Roberto. I like Roberto. And I'm like, that's my name, Roberto Valderrama. He's like, Roberto Valderrama. I like your name, man. Yeah. He goes, let's do it. And I go, yeah, let's do it. So he goes, give me your phone. So he takes my phone and he gives me his assistant's phone number. And, I send her a text. She doesn't respond. And then I call her. She responds, and she's like, yeah, of course, we'll book it. He says to book next weekend. Friday would be the best. I was like, fucking awesome. So everything's green light. And then, so I ran into him Thursday. I spoke to her Friday. We're booked for the next Friday. Tuesday were the fires. They started. Yeah. And now I've sent her an email and everything else, and now it's been kind of like hit or miss. But he even told me, he goes, he has a busy schedule, but that next week was perfect, and the fire started, and that was like that whole disaster. And,
Dude,
I'll get him. It's twice, because I was also in Burbank like 2-3 years ago, and I was talking to somebody about the podcast, and I was like, I got Jay Leno on my hit list, and they're like, oh yeah, like you got to reach out to him. I go, I just don't know how. I swear to you, Franco, I swear to you. Car pulls up in front of me. Hey guys, I'm looking for this address, and it's Jay Leno. And
No
I'm like,
way.
what the? And then my buddy, he has a body shop, and he specializes. He's certified Tesla, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, let me confirm the address. Let me get you a business card. This, that, because you have so many cars. So he gives him a business card, and I'm like, I want to ask, but I was in such shock that I was like, just talking about him, that I was like. And then he's all, thank you guys, and leaves. I'm like,
No.
That was so stupid. Next time I see him,
Yeah.
and then next time I saw him,
You're prepared.
I saw him. I was on the road, and then he was on that Foster Freeze in Burbank.
Okay.
He was in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And I was on the bike, and I was like, hey Jay, and he's like, hey, nice bike,
Right.
and I was like, I have to pull over.
Yeah,
And
go.
that's when I went and had that interaction.
Oh man.
So, but I have her
Well,
contact.
hopefully you can resurface that
Yeah.
when down the road, because that's a bummer, and that would be major for you.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It'd be major for him, man. What are you
Absolutely. He doesn't know the value
He
of
needs
Ride
to go let
Boundless.
it go. He doesn't know the value this will create in 5 years or 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
no, but I've had fun, man. Canelo Alvarez.
That's right.
Dude.
At a boxing, like at a gym, you interviewed him.
So check this out. That was a fun story. I get a call from Jaime. He's like, hey, Saul says you're cool. We're going to go train with him. I go, Saul? I'm like, what? He's like, Saul, man, come on, man. Get your stuff ready. We're going to get plane tickets. I'm like, fuck, plane tickets. Where are we going? Lake Tahoe. So I get these tickets to Lake Tahoe. And I'm like, da. So anyways, I spoke to Canelo. I was like, oh, Saul. Okay. so we fly up to, so funny thing. I'm trying to get JSX, but there was something. Oh, they don't go to Lake Tahoe. They go to somewhere near it, and I for that day, and I couldn't book it. So then I was looking at other airlines. I couldn't book anything, so I booked like Southwest, right?
Okay.
And then Jaime, I have the video. Jaime's like, dude, I've never been on Southwest. What the fuck is this?
Really?
Like, whatever. So I make Jaime go Southwest. We fly up there. We spend 3 days with Canelo Alvarez. This is not a gym. This is not a hangout. He's got a fight in a month, and this is his training camp that he's been for. He was at this training camp for like 5 months.
Wow.
5-6 months. So he trains in Lake Tahoe because of the altitude and
Okay.
the air. And I trained and ran and had lunch and had dinner with Canelo Alvarez.
Wow.
And lifting at the gym. And I was like, this is fucking wild, man. This is insane.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't sure if I was going to interview him. I just had my gear. And on the third day that we were leaving, he's like, ¿traíste tu equipo? And I was like, yeah. He goes, échale. And set it up. And I was like, can I do it in the ring where you train? He goes, yeah, of course, let's go.
Wow.
And I set it up there, and I brought 2 cameras, but then I was like, fuck it, let me grab my cell phone. So the third angle is my cell phone, and I had that interview. So now I have Jaime Camille do the introduction. He's like, let me do your introduction. I was like, dude, like this is like, I'm like getting like a little.
Yeah.
There's only 2 times where I've been like, it's too much.
Oh,
Like,
yeah?
I was at an LAFC game, and I had Chavo from System of the Down. I had B Real. I had Jaime. I had what's his name? Genesis. I'm in love with the Coco.
Oh, yeah.
Sega Genesis? No, not Sega Genesis.
I don't know.
That's it.
I know who you mean.
OT Genesis. OT Genesis. So and we're chanting. We just made a goal, and I'm like, yeah. And then I look, I'm like, this is B Real. What the?
Yeah.
Oh shit! And there was just a moment where I'm like, bro, for like 4 seconds. I probably like almost shit and pissed myself. So the same thing now. I'm interviewing Canelo.
Yeah.
And then Jaime, like, and then we're going to talk about Latin country now. In Mexico, we're talking about the number one boxer, practically the number one actor, saying, hey, I'm going to do your introduction. And I want to do your little clasp, whatever it's called.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's like, let me do it. I go, if you want, bro, I don't care. We don't need it. And he's like, let me do it. Yeah. And he's like, toma uno putos. And I was like, that was hilarious. Dude,
wow. What a moment, man.
Yeah.
What a freaking moment.
Yeah.
The star power.
Yeah.
And the universe put you there.
Yeah.
You're like, Rob is the right person for this.
And, it's back to even before we even started the podcast. I was telling you how crazy this last year was in the first 3 months. And dude, it is insane and crazy what I've been going through. But first of all, I know it's better than a lot of people in the world. Like, I can't be like, oh, my problems. Like, people are going through some crazy shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's number one. And number two, all these things have opened up doors and windows and opportunities of just like, wow, like if this didn't happen, like this wouldn't have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And even these connections and stuff, like I joke around every now and then. I'm like, oh, the podcast is not where it should be or whatever. Just the people, just these conversations and the people that I know and the places that I've been. I've traveled the world because of this hobby or this passion.
Mm-hmm.
So, my point would be, it's like, even it's really bad, dude, just keep going. It always works out.
It does. The access you're getting because of this alone is priceless. But wow, what 2 incredible stories. And there's going to be more coming.
Oh, dude.
Like, you're just getting started.
Yeah.
Like, and with every priceless experience like that, you just mature more and you're able to capitalize on it if it happens again and make something magical. So like interviewing Canelo, like HBO doesn't get that, like in the ring where he's training. Like, this is insane.
And have lunch with him and play with his kids and go to his house. Like, no, it's wild.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, just with that, it's done. It's like, you ask anybody in the world that's a boxing fan, like, hey, would you do a podcast, do 100-something episodes with a guarantee of getting Canelo for 3 days?
Yeah, you would go through all of it for that.
I mean, there's millionaires that would just pay to have an experience like that,
right?
Let alone, like, be invited. And to be clear, smart guy. Because I met him prior to that, and we were going to try to do. Actually, I met him, the first time I met him was DGR last year, May. So when we were coming back from DGR, Jaime was like, hey, dude, can we fly to San Diego? I got to meet up with somebody on a project. I was like, yeah, let's do it. And we flew back to TJ, and then we went through the CBX, which is like, so fun tip. There's a thing called CBX, which is like cross-border express or something like that from the airport. So some people say, like, if LA gets so backed up when you're flying international, that the time that it takes to get out through, immigration and, everything else, some people have been flying to TJ and they'll go through the CBX. And even though they have to drive to LA, it's faster to get back home than fly LAX.
That's wild.
It is pretty wild.
Really hard to believe, actually, that you'd be backed up that much in customs at LAX for hours.
In CBX, none. Like, when I came back from Dubai, I was in the tunnel, the glass tunnel. I was in there for an hour and a half before they even started processing anything. Everybody was losing their mind, man. I thought people were gonna like riot or something.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Oh man.
Anyways, we passed by San Diego. I met Canelo, and Canelo's like, I don't do an interview within a month after a fight. He had the Cinco de Mayo fight.
Oh, okay.
And then when I went up there to Lake Tahoe, I was there for 3 days. And I'll be honest, there wasn't much communication. There wasn't much exchange.
Yeah.
He was checking me out. He was in the zone. He was in the zone, but he wanted to see how his people were looking at me.
Right.
I'm the only outsider.
Right. Who's this stranger?
Yeah. Who's this stranger? So he from the first impression, he invited me to be there, but for the interview,
it took those 2 days.
It took the 2.5 days of him just.
Yeah, who is this guy? Do we trust him? Is he weird?
Yeah, And Jaime did tell me something cool. When we finished the interview, we were back at the airport, and when we were at the airport, he goes, "You're in." I go, "What?" And he goes, "Canelo called." He says, "You're in. You're cool." And I was like,
Wow.
"Wow, dude, that's insane."
Dude,
That's
to
insane.
get that sign off
That's insane.
from Canelo is freaking insane. I mean,
That's wild. That's
you
wild.
got a green light for the future.
Yeah.
You know, next invite, he's going to hug you when he sees you.
Yeah. I'll just hug him.
I know, right?
Just hug him.
Dude, that's wild, man.
But yeah, no,
It just goes to show like the value you bring,
Consistency.
the consistency, and the ROI of this podcast.
Yeah.
Like you could end it and be satisfied with that interaction, but obviously you wouldn't. You're just getting started, obviously.
Getting started,
But-
yeah. But
yeah.
back to how we even got to this. It's just when you talk about, Denzel Washington says, if you're not failing, you're not even trying, and it's back to, the route. It's about the group. It's about the camaraderie. It's like something you got to keep. You're not going to be able to do certain things until you have done it enough, and that's anything, your diet, your workout, your fitness, your life, your job, your career, your passion, your hobbies, riding bikes, whatever it is. You're not going to be able, there's no shortcuts. There's no shortcuts. You can't start a Beachside Moto tomorrow. You can't say, I can do that.
you gotta put in the time.
You can't open up a podcast tomorrow and I have a podcast. Like, yeah, anybody can buy the equipment. Anybody can like set up a living room or whatever the case is. But to get certain credits, the thing is, I reach out to anybody and somebody Googles Ride Boundless. I'm Ride Boundless for like 4 pages in Google. There is nothing else other than Boundless Riders, which I did reach out to them. Very cool. They do insurance in the mid-states and stuff, and they're awesome people. I was like, who's it was the first time I saw anybody in 5 years of owning Ride Boundless that popped up on the Google page. I was like, what? But
right. I mean, look, like you're saying, the sign-offs you get from the community really make the value, right? Like you're saying, you can start something, make a logo, make a website, but it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
It doesn't have the weight of years of hard work and constant positive feedback from the community that sign off on what you're doing. So everybody respects Ride Boundless. I really look forward to talking to you on here every single time. Same with the Moto Club. I've seen so many start and fail from the start of BMC, and it takes it's not even hard. It's just persistence.
Discipline.
A lot of discipline
Yep.
to keep on it. It's literally something I think about every single day. Every day, BMC is on my mind.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people have that kind of capacity or interest. They kind of want the success and the praise immediately, but you got to go through those lows to get to some highs. And we hit some pretty damn low lows.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for the motorcycle, I mean, first of all, worldwide, but COVID, was very difficult for people to get together. I remember I remember one of my first rides with some of the guys I used to ride with. It was like, hey, I'm enough is enough. Like, you guys want to meet? And then we met somewhere, and it's like, all right, nobody take off their helmets, nobody take off their gloves.
Wow, really?
Oh yeah, we were like, we were at a Starbucks, and we're like, let's just keep our gear on. And I was like spraying. I had Ride Clean hand sanitizer. I was like spraying everybody.
Wow.
That's like
Yeah. You need people. We're all freaking social creatures. You know? Yeah.
Okay, so now.
Yeah. What's up?
I agree. I think about aliens. Back to the aliens. That's
Okay.
how we got through this. So you don't believe in aliens. My son's into like stuff. My mom loves the whole alien topic. Two arguments that I think are interesting. One is, you have the whole mathematically that there's no way, you have infinite.
Right.
There's no way that whatever. But one argument to that is there's got to be a first of something, and maybe we're just the first.
I know, but if you look in terms of time,
an argument of that is that we're 4 billion years old,
right,
and everything's 12 billion years old. So there's something that's been out there for 8 billion years longer than us. So how can we be the first?
Yeah,
there's
and
that.
Civilization has only been this organized not that long.
And let's clarify something. I think this is one of the biggest points. By saying there's no aliens, we're not saying there's no life forms. Like
They exist.
They
they're
exist,
not.
but interstellar. They're not.
They're not here.
Right. They're not here.
There's definitely life.
Right.
There's other suns, right? So there's planets revolving those suns. There's life for sure.
Right.
What I'm saying is they're not going to reach us. That no physical being can travel fast enough.
But that's an easy argument. It wouldn't be a beam. It would be an android. It would be some kind of AI. It would be
maybe. Yeah. Well, it's anything with matter can't travel faster than the speed of light. And if you could travel the speed of light, it would still take forever to reach us.
What about black holes?
The wormholes and all that, like they're gateways, right? But black holes also, by Neil deGrasse Tyson, spaghettify you, which means it like crushes you. As you go through, it crushes you and makes you super dense, and you can't survive it. Nothing can survive it.
What about teleportation?
That's sci-fi. That's sci-fi.
I heard it. I heard that they're coming kind of close to it. I heard the problem with teleportation is the moment you create teleportation is the moment you created cloning. You know, because something's going to break your DNA and your atoms and everything else, and then it's going to recreate you somewhere else. But the moment you do that, it can recreate, over and over and over and over again. And that's one of the big taboos and unethical aspects of it. But I am hearing that they're getting closer to it. And
that's good.
And if you could start doing that, it's like, all right, well, let's just throw one of our machines in Mars and
yeah, that would be awesome. I think of things through a very logical and physical sense, and I've done enough science in college to know what's physical. Yeah,
I'm like people. I'm asking the goofy stuff.
No, I got you. I just think the biggest barrier is distance, and it's you're not gonna see an alien. This isn't like Signs where you see an alien pop up at a birthday party. Like, there's no way. There's a lot of videos, photos, stories people say, but
it's all pictures that look like we're taking with a Nintendo.
Yeah, and like people say, no, I know what I saw. Like, in the court of law, eyewitness testimony is like the lowest form of evidence. Like, it's just so. And then obviously you hear about like big defense contractor companies that hide away UFOs underground.
I was gonna get into that. The ocean. They say there's a lot of stuff like what are they called, the tic tac, not tic tacs, the
submarines.
No, there's because the U.S. government, there's been a lot of pilots that have caught certain things in their radar that fly. It goes up at a certain speed and crashes down at a certain speed.
Oh yeah.
It goes into the ocean. They talked about that there's stuff in our ocean. So like instead of saying, hey, it's not coming from outer space, it's coming from Earth. Like our own oceans. There's a whole thing on that.
Could be like the War of the Worlds, right? Where they've living
been the whole time.
They've been living underground forever.
Which I did like that movie a lot.
That was a great movie.
Yeah, I like the fact that they were like, nothing from outer space is going to come here.
It's already here.
Breathe our fucking air and be okay. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
It took us 100,000 years to develop this, resistance.
Yeah. Earth is such a miracle of a planet to have like 90% of it be water. That's so rare. I mean, water is the one ingredient for life. And to have a moon that brings the water onto shore and create life, that's how it all started. That's awesome.
Wow.
We're so lucky.
And so lucky the moon hasn't been destroyed by all the meteors that it's intercepted on the way to Earth. Like, I mean, the topic never ends.
I know. But
what about simulation?
Like VR? What do you mean?
Are we a simulation?
Oh, are we like in the Matrix?
Yeah. Andrew Tate says we're in the Matrix, man.
I don't know. I mean, it could be, but it feels pretty damn real.
Where do you think deja vus come from?
Dude, those things happen often.
Shit's wild, huh?
They happen so often. I'm like, dude, I've seen this, and it keeps happening. Like, I'm seeing the future in my sleep.
or that moment or something. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I've had that happen more often than in the past, like the last few months. I don't know where they come from, and it could be just a deformity in our mind state. I'm not sure.
Those are the two things that I think are so weird. Deja vu's, and then the other one is when you're thinking of somebody and you haven't spoken to them in 5 years or 8 years or 10 years, and you're just like, fuck, I wonder what's randomly, and bloop, they call,
they come
text,
up somehow.
Somehow, and that shit happens a lot, dude. Like that shit. I think those are the two. I think those are the only two real things. Like when you talk about aliens and ghosts and all that stuff and wizards and all that stuff, it's like bullshit. But those two things is like, that's the reality check that something's there we don't quite know.
It's a glitch.
There's a glitch, right?
Yeah, there's some sort of glitch that is, but it happens to all of us.
It happens to all of us.
You know?
But what's the science explanation of it?
That would be more of like, yeah, I know, right? That's like human anatomy and the way the brain works somehow.
Radio frequency, but it's so weird because it could be like globally. It could be 5 years, 10 years that you don't talk to the person. It could be the randomest thing, and it happens. Everybody has experienced that.
Coincidences, like could be just a coincidence that happens frequently. I don't know, but it wouldn't be. I don't think it's a simulation, and I don't think aliens are on Earth. But yeah, there's a lot of weird things that happen as you get older and you start to recognize it. And the more it happens, the more you pay attention. So I don't know. We're going to need to bring some hardcore scientists here and elaborate more on that. Neil deGrasse Tyson, we're talking to you.
Damn right, man.
We're talking to you, man.
Ride Boundless. Ride-boundless.com.
Yeah. I'll get you a motorcycle. He probably doesn't ride. I believe scientists don't really do that stuff. Too much risk.
I think he would ride.
I think he'd say some story about how he got turned off from it.
No, I think he rides, man.
You think he rides a motorcycle?
Here, you know what? Let's have
take a quick look.
Let's have a quick guest right now come onto the show and see if this works. All right, I'm talking to Franco right now. We were talking about Neil deGrasse Tyson, the scientist, and we're wondering, is there anything online that he rides motorcycles or anything?
I don't think Neil deGrasse Tyson rides motorcycles. He's known for his work in astrophysics and science communication. There's no indication that he has a specific interest in motorcycles. Did you find something that suggested otherwise?
No, I think I just remember him talking about physics of motorcycles when riding or something like that. All right, that was boring.
Gotcha. He might have mentioned it in passing, but it's not something he's known for. Anything else you and Franco are curious about?
Wow.
You know what? Let's talk about the physics. What holds a motorcycle up while riding? And how come when we're on turns, really long turns, and we're angled, very angledly, this is not science talk, we don't fall over?
Great question. It all comes down to a combination of physics principles. The main factors are gyroscopic stability and centrifugal force. When a motorcycle is moving, the spinning wheels create gyroscopic forces that help keep it upright. When you lean into a turn, centrifugal force acts outward, balancing the lean angle. The combination of your speed, the lean angle, and these forces keep the bike stable and prevent it from tipping over.
And last question, do you believe in aliens?
I think it's a big universe out there, so the possibility of life beyond Earth is definitely intriguing. What about you?
Wow.
Right?
So, he's very right about the centripetal force. That's why we lean into the turn.
Right.
Because our body and the motorcycle want to go out to the turn, so we got to counterbalance that. Which
is interesting, because I'm gonna bring up real quickly, which I shouldn't be doing this, but I am gonna do this. My motorcycle accident, a car came in and hit me, and it caused this wobble, and the wobble caused whatever, and anyways, somebody was like, "Are you sure a car hit you?" I'm like, "You don't understand, dude. At this speed, even if I wanted to throw down the motorcycle, I can't really throw down the motorcycle. I could throw it and it would just knock me off, straighten up, and continue going straight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
And then it would hit something.
Right.
But otherwise, the only time you get that is I guess if you're at a very high extreme speed and you get your death wobble,
Right.
or if an outside force hits you where you get your death wobble. But it's really hard.
It's hard.
Like if you got next to a motorcycle and kind of like pushed it, it would probably, I don't know, it's hard to flip over a bike.
Because
it wants to stand.
those wheels are gyroscopes that are designed to stay upright at a high revolution. So you need a super strong external force, like you're saying. And when you have a motorcycle versus a car always wins. So it's just a larger external force from the car that it overpowered the motorcycle.
Overbalances kind of in a sense.
Yeah. And then you got the wobble and it was too hard to get out of that. But I guess the only thing that you maybe could have done, which would have been impossible to do on the spot, is throttle to bring up that front wheel to help it stabilize a little bit better.
Well, the other thing is if I wasn't merging onto the 405 and I had more room on the right, there would have been some time to get some correction.
Mm-hmm.
But because I was already on the right lane and he came into my lane, I kind of ran out of road for any corrections or anything like that.
Ran out of runway.
Yeah. So. Anyways, that's not even the problem. The problem is I had that conversation. Somebody's like, oh, yeah, well, nobody stopped. I'm like, no, nobody stopped. Which that's another thing that makes you think. It's like, how come nobody stopped? And it's like, this is California. And this is one of the few places that if somebody's broken down on the side of the road, most people don't stop because they're going to work or something.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, the weather's beautiful, you know. And
well, they assume you're getting help already,
You're
probably.
getting help already.
Yeah.
And it's not a life-threatening situation in California. Now, when you go to other states where it snows or you go to Palm Springs and it gets 115 and you see a car broken down, everybody's going to stop and bring water out and like, is your AC? Because it's life-threatening. In LA, it's sad, to be honest, but AAA, CHP, fire department's going to be there, you know, every 15, 20, 30 minutes.
Right.
In my case, it was over 40 minutes.
I feel like because there was no clear indicator, there was an issue. I don't know how you were on the side of the road. If the bike was on the floor.
Right. We weren't knocked out.
Like
we weren't dead bodies. Wow.
Yeah. But you were standing and was a bike just on the floor? Or did you have it on the kickstand?
I got it up on the kickstand.
So
actually. That's a good question.
So that probably told people they're just waiting for a tow truck.
Yeah.
You know, because if there's like shards on the highway and the bike's on the side.
There were shards. There was everything.
Okay.
But me, like that's my baby.
For sure.
I had to stand it up.
I
had to make sure it looked good the last time I looked at it. I didn't want to see it all leaking and shit.
Yeah.
You know, pooping out of its ass. I'm like, yeah, you're pathetic.
No, I got you. You probably would have gotten more help if it was on the side.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I did not think about that. Yeah. I literally was, oh my God, there's millions of cars coming. I got to get this off the fucking road. So I pulled it out and then I was like, I got to lift it because I know how to lift the bike and I got to show people I know how to lift the bike, right? Look at me. So I lifted it, put the kickstand up, and the front tire was just like,
oh, no.
Yeah. They totaled it. It's gone.
Oh, man. I'm sorry. You know, our bikes are our extended children, pretty much. Oh, yeah. I'm so glad that's it, though. You didn't have a broken arm, broken hip.
Dude, anything. My passenger, anything. Dude. Anything. Just a little angle like this, click, or a little anything. Franco, anything. I can bitch and complain and yell and scream. Miracle, man.
I'm so happy.
I know people. I've been riding 24 years. I know people that have literally dropped their bike at a red light and broken their arm, twisted their ankle. You know, like insane. Let alone 55 miles an hour, passenger.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you.
Miracle.
Thank you so much for the higher being that's watching over us, for protecting Rob, because we need this man in one piece.
USA.
The whole motorcycle community would come to a standstill if you couldn't ride.
That'd be,
or if you were in the hospital.
That would be.
We would all riot.
Hopefully, that never,
Never.
never, ever.
Yeah. I mean, you do. For myself, I like to think I do a lot of training to keep myself super sharp, but there's always an instance that is out of our control. You did nothing wrong, literally. It was just out of your control.
You know, I have a book called Fearless Rider I published, and it was just like it was just basic, like a lot of the conversations I have with regular people, and it's just like take more classes. You know, if you're gonna buy a bike, like I knew so many people that like save $6,000 to buy their first bike and have zero budget for gear. I'm like, dude, you got to have like at least 1,000. But anyway, so it's like a safety book. When I released this book, it was 20 years of experience of riding. Never had an accident in my life, ever.
Wow.
And now, ever since I published the book,
Now you're like, now I have more to say.
now I have more to. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say that I have more to say. But what my point is, in my experience, 95% of motorcycle accidents is rider error. That's been my experience.
I agree with you.
You know, yeah.
I agree.
So and I have this accident under my belt, and it's like, all right, I have it. I don't think I was at fault, but even statistically, 24 years riding and this happened. Okay, you know, maybe there's something I could have done to prevent it. Maybe there, but you know what?
Yeah.
Whatever the case.
Right. I also think a lot of accidents I hear about are the rider error or just where you're positioning yourself around others. Because we all say you ride defensively. Where are you positioned on lanes or amongst other cars? If you position yourself in a place to get hit, that's your fault. It's not the car. The car doesn't know. It's blind.
Right.
It's just so, but I haven't had super major accidents either. I've had a couple where I've gone down. I've high-sided on the street, but nothing on a freeway at a high speed. So hopefully it doesn't happen.
This is the only time I've gone down.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the only time I've ever gone down before this is like when I was a teenager on dirt bikes.
Mm-hmm.
But on the road, this was 24, and I'm talking about active riding.
Right. Yeah, I know. For me, same. Dirt roads, I've fallen a lot.
Yeah.
But on the pavement in the city, just once. One big time. I thought my whole shoulder was dislocated. Thankfully, it wasn't. But
You snapped it back.
imagine, I was like this for like a couple days. It just hurt a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, gear is important.
Big time.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, this is your call to get a motorcycle.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, we need you on this. And speaking about gear, I want to give out a shout out to Ether. Ether's, oh man, I've been rocking so much of their gear.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the style of gear they have, man.
Yeah, man. Same. Shout out to Ether also. I'm actually leading their San Francisco ride this Saturday.
Really?
Yeah, so we've done 2 collaborations with them through Beachside Moto Club. I've met all of their crew. I've gone to their events, and we're hosting a group ride out of the San Francisco location, and I'm leading it, which I'm super stoked about.
Fucking amazing. Are you taking the team or
Just myself.
just yourself?
Yeah, so I have a couple contacts in San Francisco. I like to go up there and ride motorcycles.
I love Frisco. I pretty much learned how to ride bikes in San Francisco.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a good place to learn.
Yeah, man.
It's really good.
When you're on the fucking hill like
Yeah,
this.
those
and you're
exactly. Brake and throttle control.
of course, it's never gonna happen. But I'm like, I feel like the bike's just gonna like fall over, man, on some of those hills.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I love riding a Harley through San Francisco, man, because you hear it through the streets of. It's so cool, man.
Nice.
Stop at the Golds Club. I'm kidding, man. I'm kidding. Shout
Yeah.
out to the Golds Club.
Shout out. Yeah, I usually trailer 2 bikes and I just ride for a week up there and alternate between the 2. So
You're going 5 or you're taking PCH?
now I'm gonna try to get up there as fast as possible.
5.
So yeah,
Teleport.
I wish.
Rocket.
Yeah. I need a rocket ship. No, but yeah, Ether is great.
Ether's
They've got
amazing.
cool gear, ghost armor in their jackets, so you can't even tell it's armor. You can just wear it on the street.
Yeah.
I got their boots on right now, the Ether boot.
Yeah.
Boom.
Bam. Yeah, Ether's the shit, man.
Yeah, they're cool. And hopefully the San Francisco ride is one of many. They
Yeah.
haven't had a whole lot of rides there lately.
Do you have the route already, or
Yeah, I made the route. We're
Can
gonna
you
go
talk about it or no?
Yeah, we're gonna ride from Hayes Valley where the shop is, a container shop, really cool. Have free coffee, and we're gonna ride down to Santa Cruz.
Love Santa Cruz.
It's a
You
good.
gonna take the 17?
It's gonna be through Skyline,
you
through
have to-
Alice's,
Yeah.
and then
I'm sorry. Are you gonna go through PCH or catch the 17?
to get to Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz,
No, it's all like through the Redwoods.
Yeah.
So I think it's the 17 or the 9.
So it's 17.
Yeah.
It's the 17 because it goes down, it drops down, and then you'll be towards the San Jose area, and then it takes 7. Then it's called the 17 because it's 17 miles through the hills,
Okay.
drop into Santa Cruz. Then you pass by. I used to live there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done the ride once.
So
with-
beautiful.
yeah, and I just mapped it out, sent it to the team, and they approved. So
Yeah. I
hopefully
mean, you could do all PCH and go through Pacifica and then all that other stuff too.
it's already 80
Yeah, it's-
miles.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like a
Well, straight from Frisco to PCH, San Francisco to Santa Cruz is 90 miles. Yeah.
gotcha.
And then Monterey is like another 30 afterwards.
These guys ride long distance. Ether guys, they got adventure bikes.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe next time we'll do a longer ride. Hopefully in the fall of this year.
How many riders?
We don't know. I mean, LA, I can tell you, we have a really good gauge. I can tell. But San Francisco, I haven't led a ride before, so this will be the first time. I'm expecting 20.
Yeah.
It's not as big as LA where you get 100 people. But again, it's kind of like a rebirth of the Ether rides. So I don't know.
Didn't Ether do Palm Springs? What's it called?
The Ether Rally.
The
Pioneer
Ether Rally?
Town?
Pioneer Town. Thank
Pioneer
you.
Town, yeah.
Yeah.
They do it every year. It's actually going to overlap on the same weekend as DGR this year. So I'm going to have to clone myself to be at both places at the same time.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I usually go to the Ether Rally. It's a good time. And I ride my dirt bike. We do a dirt ride. But we'll see. We shall see.
Well, good, man. I think our behind the scenes are
Went a little longer than expected. It's because we had such a good time hanging out, man.
yeah,
It's got to happen more often.
yeah, absolutely.
At least one more time this
Yeah,
year.
I keep saying it, man. The only thing that I have settings on my phones like working out, this, that, and depending what that setting is, like there's always people that can like their phone calls will come in. But when I put this on podcast, it's like I cut everybody off, and
Yeah.
it's the same thing. It's like the only thing I can 100% cut off for is for a podcast. Like that's the only acceptable thing. It's like my son, like, where are you, Papa? Like podcast. Oh, okay, Papa. How was it? Who'd you talk
Yeah.
to? What's up? So
Right.
so anything else is like it's hard, and it's not a good quality or situation to have. You got to make time for
Right.
many
No,
things.
I hear you. I mean, for me, my sacred time is the BMC rides.
Right.
I don't want to take a phone call. I don't want to get back to people because I'm managing the whole situation. It's a whole production.
You worked all month for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a whole production. People need answers. They need to put fires out. So I go on Do Not Disturb during the BMC rides.
Yeah.
So I get it. Right now I'm on Do Not Disturb, but as soon as I open my phone, I'm going to have 10 messages, 5 from Adam.
Well, tell him I said hello, and we'll be we gotta get him back on. We gotta do a group one.
Yeah. I think that'd be great. Talk about how far BMC has come since the last time. It's been a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of
check in.
growth. Yeah. Good to check in.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother.
All right, Rob, you're the man.
You the man. Thank you.